welcome back to another episode of From BA to Broadway, live at BroadwayCon! Folks, thank you so much for coming out. This is still crazy that we're here live today. As always, programming reminders. Every Monday we are here with the main pod. Every Wednesday, Danny and I will be bringing you In the Spotlight. And today we're here at BroadwayCon. I am so freaking grateful, and I am not here alone. Folks, welcome Christopher and Clay Rice-Thomson.
Woohoo! That's me.
Hey boys, how we doing?
You said it's BroadwayCon, but it's actually 10 a.m.
It is 10 a.m. on BroadwayCon. Honestly, it's a miracle that I'm awake. I can't believe how well rested I am, knock on wood. But I am caffeinated, so we're good to go.
Here. That's all you need.
Chris, you've already been on this podcast before.
Yeah, I'm just going to shut up now. So
Yeah. Just do me a favor, back a little bit. Hey, Clay, how's it going?
Hi, I'm so good.
Oh, good. Clay, first time guest questions.
Yeah.
Who are you and what the heck do you do?
I am a Broadway performer. I just left Moulin Rouge 5 days ago. I was in it for 2.5 years.
Crazy.
I did almost 1,000 shows, and I create content on the internet moment.
Yeah, you do.
And I have an amazing husband who's also a performer and
self-proclaimed
creator.
amazing husband.
Correct, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
In fact, we are not brothers. We were checking.
Oh my god.
I was like, hey, Rice-Thomson brothers? We were like, no. We put the Rice and Thompson together. We got married.
Do you get that a lot?
I think we've got it one other time, maybe.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard a little bit, but I was like, that's so funny.
At BroadwayCon, I'm like, everybody's gay here.
Literally. In the year 2024. Come on.
Yes.
Clay, how do we know each other?
How do we know each other? So my husband directed a production of The Little Mermaid, and Brennan was in the show. You were in the show. Why am I saying it like
it's okay.
You're not right here?
I like it.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, did you go to school for theater?
I went to Penn State University for musical theater for my freshman year, and then the summer after my freshman year, I got a job, so I left.
Oh my god.
I'm going to ask a question. What job
Yeah,
did you
what job was it?
I got the first national tour of West Side Story, where I met my husband.
Wow.
Yeah,
a contract and a husband. Come on.
We met at the audition, and we both booked it, and here we are now, 12 years later.
Amazing.
Over 12, yeah.
Yeah, 12 and a half.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
I don't say anything.
Yeah, we still look so youthful and amazing.
Yes, you do. Did you ever consider going back to school afterwards?
I considered it actually like while I was on tour. So when I booked the job, I told my school, and they were like, okay, you can either go and do the job and lose your scholarship, and you have to like re-audition. And I was like, why would I do that? Am I not going to school to do this thing that I booked the job for? And so I considered going back somewhere else. I didn't consider going back to Penn State.
Yeah.
But after that, I like moved to New York and kind of like had a conversation with my parents that I was like, if I give myself a year of living in the city and just like try it out, is that okay? And can I do that without going back to school? And they were like, do a year, and if you don't book anything within a year, then like let's look into whether it's going back to school, going to school for something different. But like give yourself a year. And I was very lucky, knock on all the wood. And my first month, I booked Newsies on Broadway, and so I made my debut.
Wait, what about your second month? Your second month when you booked your second Broadway show.
Oh yeah. So before Chris had even seen me, so I was supposed to make my debut the day before. I was supposed to make my debut on October 30th, and Hurricane Sandy hit, and so I didn't make my debut until November 1st. Where Chris was supposed to see me in the show on the 30th, and he was on tour with White Christmas, but was in town for that day.
No, I was leaving. So you were supposed to make your debut the 30th. Your birthday's the 31st. I was supposed to leave the 1st. So I was going to see him in his Broadway debut. He had a day off, and then I was going to go on tour. And then because the hurricane hit,
so he missed the debut, and I was very lucky. He came back in town the following week to see me in the show, and literally like we're laying in bed, and I got a phone call that I booked Matilda. So he had not seen me in Newsies yet, and I found out that I booked my second Broadway show. And he was like, "How dare you book 2 Broadway shows before I've even seen you in the first one?"
That's crazy. That's really crazy. How soon after was that transition?
So I was only in Newsies for like 2 months.
Okay.
Really. So I opened in November and I was done in December, and I knew that I was only there like filling in for somebody's injury.
Oh, okay. It was a contract.
Yeah. So I was auditioning like while I was in rehearsal, and then I started rehearsal for Matilda on New Year's Eve.
Amazing.
Why? Starting
Also,
December
that's
31st
in Times
at
Square.
New 42. So you're like in Times Square, chaos with like children. Who thought of that?
That's terrible. That's
Right?
really terrible.
So silly. But anyway.
So he didn't go back to school.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
he
Moral
was
of the
fine.
story? No. Amazing. Chris, I guess you get second-time guest questions, which hasn't happened yet, because you're the first
Ooh.
second-time guest.
Because I
technically.
just won't leave you alone.
What?
I won't leave you alone. I'm like,
I love attention, you know that. Chris, what's your favorite musical?
oh, that's a great question. I think the go-to answer is still the same for me, which is a chorus line.
Okay.
I feel like, one, it's like so specific to theater, yet also universal.
Perfect.
And it, because everybody's had a dream and everybody has had to sacrifice something to get where they want to be, or to spend time in the field that they love or doing what they love. And even though it's told through something that's really like a world that's really relatable to us, I think there's something for everybody in that show. And the comedy's great, and it was so progressive and really pushed the envelope for its time. Yet somehow is still kind of racy and exciting. So it's it's a great show. I love it. It's my favorite show. And I did it 4 times when I was in college and right out of college, and then thankfully I haven't had to do it since. So my knees are.
Who were you?
I was Mark, cover Mike, and then Mike.
Amazing. And then second question is, what is your favorite theatrical experience that you've been a part of?
Oh gosh, I don't think I could just pick one, because
you
I
have
feel
to.
like okay. Well, like, you gotta be more specific. It's like as an audience member, like affecting me. If it's like on stage, or if it's like now that I'm behind the table as well, like directing and choreographing. The top. You didn't ask for the top 3, but I'm gonna give you a quick top
That's
3.
okay,
The
I'll
first
take
one
it.
I would say is like okay. So when Clay and I did West Side Story together, which was my first big gig out of college. This is the 2009 revival, and there was a shot from like their B-roll trailer TV commercial that was from upstage looking towards the audience, and the jets were like on the real streets of New York, and then it cut to them like jumping in and landing on the stage, and you can see the footlights and the lights hitting them. And I realized the first time I had to like jump through a window in the set to do do do. I jumped through and I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I have the view that the camera had, and like I got full body chills, so that was really cool. Hamilton is such a badass show, and the first time I got to walk on stage and like snap in the corners when I heard the opening bars, I was like, that's pretty great. And I also think I would say you didn't ask for the third one, but I'll give it to you anyway. I'll say working with you on The Little Mermaid was like a really special experience, because we got to bring a really high caliber show to that area, and it had an immersive twist to it, and it was really really special. Clay brought our niece to the final show, and her sitting in our lap in front row, which is something I'll never forget.
Yeah. I don't know if that was pandering, but I appreciate it. I mean, being an actor is wild, and having an actor's schedule is even more wild. Clay, I guess question is, the fated question, why did you leave Moulin Rouge?
So, being in the show for 2.5 years, we get 2 vacation weeks a year, and we get 3 personal days a year. And so at the end of doing the show for 2.5 years, you miss out on a lot of birthdays. And like, I haven't been home for Christmas other than COVID in like 10 years. And so I was like, I want to get to just like have a little break to like have like dinner at dinner time with my husband. And it was time. And I was like, I know I did a video about this, so if you saw it, sorry for repeating myself. But there was one show where I like was doing the show, and I was like, I am not having as much fun as I did a second ago, and so I was like, it's time to let somebody else have more fun doing the show that I'm having right now. Because doing the show 1,000 times, it's like it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
And I still feel very lucky every time that I got to do it. But I was like, also just like ready for something new creatively. So I was like, it's time to like take a little sidestep. And I mean, that's not to say that I won't ever go back to the show, because anybody who has ever been in Moulin Rouge always goes back, at least like 6 times. So I'm sure I'll go back at some
Aaron
point.
to being in his like 3rd or 4th
my
stint of the
God.
show.
Literally.
Maybe they'll give you his salary and you can go back, right?
Correct.
Nobody
I will go
ever
back
says
for
no to
today's
that.
salary.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking last episode with Victor, my friend Victor. He's in The Outsiders as a swing, and then we were kind of talking about the fact that like Broadway is amazing. It's such an awesome opportunity. It is glorious. It is the dream, but like it's also still a job. Like you are still going to work every day, and that is something that a lot of people don't realize, especially like when people aren't like showing up at the stage show or whatever, and everyone's in a tip. It's just like you are still bringing everything that you have in life to that show that is still there afterwards, and it's kind of hard to take that perception in there that, I don't know, you have a life outside of this.
For sure.
I'm also like one who may be a little bit irresponsible with work in terms of holidays. I am very adamant about not missing holidays. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And there's also like a million productions of A Christmas Carol that like happen every year. And it's like, yes, the contract ends January 1st.
Right.
I'm like, I just don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I got like submitted for a couple of different shows that open in the fall. Submitted like to go to audition, and I was like, as much as I would love to jump into another Broadway show, and how cool would that be? I was like, I want to just like chill and again have Christmas off. So I was like, I don't want to do something that opens in the fall because I will miss out on other things. So I was like, that was a good enough reason for me to like just take a step back.
For sure.
It's also interesting because the 2 vacation weeks you get a year as a Broadway actor, you cannot take them around holidays. You can't take them on like Christmas or New Year. So like, I mean, I've never been a part of a Broadway show or a Broadway tour that's had flexibility around the holidays. I'm sure it's because like a lot of people go to celebrate with their families and see shows, so they want the cast to be there. And of course, if you're injured or whatever, that's its own thing. But yeah, it's interesting. So. It's a crazy wild world, the Broadway show schedule.
Yeah, no kidding. And like, I guess it's also just part of the like being in New York thing too. Like you have your home here, like you have your people here, and like you just don't have the time.
Right.
It's not like, I mean, a regional contractor where like those are the people you're seeing every day and spending all of your free time with. You have a sublet, you don't have to pay rent and all that jazz. And it's just those things that people don't take into account, Have you guys found that you had like supportive communities in terms of like you having to miss things, you having those crazy schedules and whatnot?
Well, I feel like I don't know if this quite answers the question, but I will say that like pretty early on in our time in New York, Thanksgiving became a Friendsgiving, and we started to have like orphans Thanksgiving, and all of our friends who were in shows or maybe couldn't afford to go back home or just couldn't get off work, whatever it was, and we started having a little gathering every year that kind of just has evolved into be a holiday now that we associate with being with our friends. So it's kind of become a tradition that we spend that holiday, Thanksgiving, with friends in the business. So that's kind of special. So yeah, we have created our own community and built up a support system, and I think that's a good example of a holiday that we've kind of reframed, and now we really look forward to it every year because it's something really special.
That rocks.
Yeah. I'm again kind of answering. I'm like, is that the answer to your question?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm going to say it anyways.
It's arbitrary.
I'm like very, like quote unquote, not good at calling out. So I would say like when I do call out, you asked if we have a supportive community. I think like especially people in the business understand when you're like, especially when you show up to work a lot. That when you do call out, people are like, take that day, do the thing. So I would say yes, we have a supportive community.
Amazing.
With that, yeah.
That rocks. Have you found, like, when y'all were touring or anything, did you have trouble, like, feeling like you had roots anywhere, I guess? Because you had already been in the city, or no?
I had not yet.
Okay.
No, so
Had you been in the city?
I had not. I had just graduated college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at first, I would say no, right? Like,
No,
I feel like
yeah.
we were traveling with our best friend, meaning the other person, and like getting to travel, and both of us hadn't. Clay was on a tour when he was a kid. He was the swing in Oliver on the road, which is still wild to me that swinging, covering multiple roles as a child is like, feels like it's inhumane, but like you did it, you nailed it. I'm certain. But it was really exciting for me having not traveled a lot, and to travel with him around the country and even overseas a little bit was really special. So at that time, no, but since then we both toured a little bit. Clay went on to do Wicked, and actually right after we got off West Side, I went back on the road with White Christmas. So we went from being like attached at the hip on the road to then being like long distance. And yeah, White Christmas was a seasonal show.
Yeah.
But still, there's that, and then like our longest stint, I think, Wicked was shorter for you. Like you did like several stints. I did 6 performances of Hamilton before COVID, LOL. And I had to relearn all of my tracks when we reopened like 18 months later. But then that was a 14-month stint. And that was, at that point we were married, and the show was really satisfying, of course, to be a part of, and such a cool...
Satisfying.
Hey, satisfied. It's too early for that, Clay. Too early. Boo. But I will say at that point, I did feel like my roots were in New York, and it was hard to be away. So like, outside of the show, it was a harder year just to be away from Clay and away from the city. And I was traveling back a lot, so like, that eats into your day off, your one day off of traveling to Clay and then traveling back the next morning. And then also, it eats into the funds too. You know, like, not the fun, the funds, the money to fly back and stuff.
Of course.
But you also have to decide what works for you, and that's seeing each other a lot is what we wanted, and that worked for us.
How were there any other ways that y'all like navigated like having the long distance relationship on the actor's schedule?
I mean, thankfully, FaceTime and Zoom are a thing now. So we made sure, like, to start every day, we would either like FaceTime each other, or at least like if one of us had something in the morning, we'd just like send a little video just to be like, love you, thinking about you. So thankfully, technology really helped with that. But then, like you said, when he was doing Hamilton, I was doing Moulin Rouge. So we thankfully had the same day off, but we were both working the whole week. So it's not like we could take a Tuesday off. If we had to take a Tuesday off, it like eats into the 3 personal days you get a year. So that, it got more challenging the longer it went on, because it was like, all I want to do on my day off is sit and chill and recharge and see you. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get on that 5 a.m. flight so that I can see you in whatever city you're in and like spend as much time with you as I can, and then come back on Tuesday. So it definitely got harder as like the months went on. But that's kind of one of the reasons why Chris like decided on leaving Hamilton, because he was like, as satisfying as the show is, I was like, both of us were like, I'd rather be together every day, and then that's more satisfying, you know?
For sure.
Say satisfying again.
Satisfying.
I feel like y'all are like Broadway couple goals for sure.
Oh my God.
To other people, to everyone else.
Of course.
But like, navigating that is just always, I feel like that's such a central part of every theater person's journey, is that showmance that you had, and everything that happens after, will it go on, is it separated and all of that. So first of all, congrats for withstanding that.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't, and a lot of people change their life because of it.
Absolutely.
In other ways, you know? So it's really cool that y'all are still doing the thing.
Yeah. One nice thing about being in a relationship with somebody in the same business is you understand what the other person's going through, whether it's like a spell of having no auditions, or not having a job, or all of those things you like get. You're like, I know what you're going through, and like, we've both made it out on the other side of this, so like, it's going to be okay. So that's nice to have that kind of support, and being in the same field. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people in the community are also like, oh, I don't ever want to date an actor. I don't want to date anyone in the industry. And I'm always like, I feel like I can only do that because I don't think anybody else gets it. You know, like, if I have to miss a birthday, which I would adamantly try not to, like, it's just those kinds of things, you know? And I don't know, I feel like I kind of have to.
Yeah, for me, I always knew that I would end up with a performer or somebody in the arts that gets it. Because also there's a lot of drive involved too, because it's like, it's a really statistically hard business to like quote unquote succeed in or find long-term success in. So I knew at one point I was dating somebody, a girl, sorry Clay, back in the day, and she moved to New York and she did one audition in 6 months, and she was like a year ahead of me, so she graduated before me when I was in college, and I was like, how? And she was like, I don't know, I haven't gotten a job yet. And I was like, well, tell me about the auditions you've done, and she'd only done one, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I was like, I can't imagine not doing 10 auditions a week when I get to New York, so I wanted to find somebody that matched the drive that I had, that sort of energy, as well as just understanding like the business as a whole. And I'm thankful that I found somebody that checked those boxes for me and was a fun person to go on the journey with.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just nice having another thespian there to also give you the motivation for that too. Like even just having like a theatrical roommate, it's like, okay, I have this self-tape, I really don't want to do it, but we can set up the thing in 2 minutes. Do it real quick and then just be back to our daily life, It's definitely one of those things that is helpful, especially because just like this city can be really draining. Mm-hmm. It can be really draining, and it can be like very artistically draining as well. So, I mean, especially with my days off, I'm like, oh, I kind of just want to veg. But there's work to do.
I did see a friend had a magnet on their fridge for a long time that said, you didn't move to New York to watch Netflix. I was like, didn't say Disney Plus, it didn't say Netflix is off the best. But that inspires me. I mean, I think rest is a huge, very, very important part of, definitely an artistic process or just life in general, especially in a big, hustle and bustling city like New York. Mm-hmm. So rest is important. I'm not trying to diss that, but I think
listen, I'm not sacrificing that at all. Don't worry. How do you? I feel like my main source of joy in the city and my main crutch is my community. Mm-hmm. I would say, how do y'all navigate having a social life on these schedules and kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we kind of pride ourselves on is surrounding ourselves with good people, and weeding out anybody that doesn't make our lives better. And so that, I think that makes
sounds malicious, but really weeding out the people that have negative energy.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that makes it easier to be like, if I only have one day off a week, I need to spend that with people that are going to build me up and not tear me down. We had a set of friends a couple years ago that we would hang out with pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. And at the end of hanging out, we were like, I don't feel like I'm a better person. I feel like I'm the opposite of a better person after hanging out with these people. And this is too draining to sustain my happiness. So just surrounding ourselves with good people has been what I think makes that easy to have that community.
For sure. It's how are you hanging out with people?
We love a chill hangout. Give me a hangout at home. Give me a hangout in a quiet restaurant. Mm-hmm. People are like, let's go out dancing. I'm like, we get paid to dance. Why do I want to go out and dance? It's so loud, I can't hear you talk. So I'm the 80-year-old woman, but
I'm right there with you. Did things just get louder? Is that what they were doing? Okay, wow, cool. Hey everyone, again.
I think just a chill night in with friends, or at a chill bar. We love restaurant because I need food. I think that's my ideal kind of chill night.
I feel like when Clay or I are on a show week schedule, between show meals are great. I also am a big napper, so if I'm not needing a nap, I love a little between show, a little dinner moment with friends, which is great. All the local restaurants around Moulin Rouge were sad to see Clay go, because they were like, oh, we're gonna miss you, because he was in there every week, every Saturday between shows.
5 napkin, anyone? Hey.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Also, you're I'll still see you. It'll be fine, I promise.
Best fries in Manhattan, come on.
Yeah, amazing. I don't know. I'm not a big napper, first of all, so that's always a huge struggle.
I'm gonna end this interview right now.
That's
the deal breaker.
That's what broke the camel's back.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, jeez, wow.
See, but he can sleep anywhere.
I can sleep on his table if he gives me 30 seconds.
He'll set a timer for 12 minutes, giving himself 1 minute to fall asleep, 10 minutes to be asleep and 1 minute to wake up.
That's crazy.
It's a gift.
So I'm like, if I nap, I'm out. I'm like, I have to wake up again?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. I'm not a morning person, so to do that twice, no thank you. But
Literally, once
Sleeping
again, it's
Beauty
a
over
miracle
here.
that I'm
Yeah.
here right now. I have to be absolutely exhausted, and then also I'm also one of those people that like, if I wake up late, I'm like, oh, I wasted the whole day.
Yes.
And if I take a nap in the middle of the day, I'm like, oh, I just wasted 2 hours of my being a human time. But you gotta do it.
For me, it's a recharge, so it's a little like, okay, pick me up, here we go.
Like, that's what I want. I want to be able to like close my eyes for 20 minutes, wake up, feel awesome. But I wake up and then I'm just angry again. I'm like, I want to go back to bed.
Here's a fun fact, a little Broadway theatery fact. When you were seeing a Broadway show or tour, there is probably a swing backstage with their eyes closed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or a person on stage. I have fully said. Oh,
Wait.
No. That's not what I was going to say.
You're gonna tell that story.
Okay,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
no, but there have
Hey,
been.
did you ever fall asleep on stage?
No.
Okay. Wait a minute.
This is your teaser clip right there.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah.
Okay, so I did Matilda on Broadway. Thank you very much. And there was a very comfortable chair on the set, and I played Michael Wormwood at one time. And one of the like positions that I had to like sit in was like laying upside down.
If you're unfamiliar, Michael Wormwood like just sits and watches TV the whole time, so he's like literally supposed to sit kind of quietly, zoning out, watching TV.
And I
For
have like
context.
little one-word lines throughout the scene that I would like hear my cue line and yell out one word. So it was a week that I was very tired. I was teaching a lot of classes. I was doing 8 shows a week.
You don't need to make excuses.
Very tired. And I was laying there, and I remember being like, eyes are drifting. And I was like, no, wake up. And then eyes were drifting again. And I remember hearing what I thought was my cue. It wasn't, but I sure as heck thought it was. And I yelled out my line, and it was Leslie Margarita. And she was like, okay, Michael. And I was like, oh my God, I'm mortified. So
They're in the middle of a scene, he just goes, backwards!
So yeah,
Okay.
I learned at that point to be better at taking naps because I didn't need to do it off stage. So yeah,
There was a play on Broadway a couple years ago, like I think pre-COVID, where like a mature woman, like the elderly grandmother.
No, not the fairyland.
No, she like laid down on this couch for like a whole act of the show, and it was like there has to be someone. The actress was of a certain age. I was like, there has to be someone, like a stagehand, like reaching their hand on that couch, being like, "Wake up!" I was like, how do you stay? Like, how do you fake sleep? I would be out. I would be at this age. I would need somebody to poke me
For an hour?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's game
Sure.
over.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Damn.
Also, I want that job. You know.
Also, yeah, valid. Was you falling asleep on stage the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on stage?
No. No. I mean, where do I start? There's so many times that it's been mortifying. I mean, my Broadway debut, so because Hurricane Sandy happened, I didn't get a put-in, which is like your one opportunity to do the show without an audience, in costume, and to like prepare for having an audience. So I didn't get a put-in. So my first time doing the show in costume was in front of an audience. And so I had never done the big dance number, Seize the Day, at the end of Act 1. And so at the end of the number, we like do a big like dun, dun, toe touch, and my pants like fully ripped down the middle, like just fully in half. And then I finished the number just knowing like my parents are in the audience, like the casting director was in the audience, the choreographer, and everybody just saw like a lot of fleshy dance belt.
I still have a picture that Ryan Steele sent me of play backstage, like thumbs up, and his pants just ripped all the way down.
Yeah. So that's one moment.
That's just the Newsies way, though. Like, I was working costume shop for production of Newsies, and every single day we would have at least 3 pairs of pants that ripped the next night.
Absolutely.
So we just started putting spandex in the crotch, like it was just one bale of spandex just to keep it going.
I think that's why Max Clayton never got Newsies, because they were like, absolutely.
He breaks his pants and everything.
If you don't know who that is, look him up and you'll see his legs are like tree trunks. And every Broadway show, he always posts like just pants split in half. Anyway,
I think one of my most embarrassing ones was not on Broadway. It was in a regional production of The Producers, and it was the Keep It Gay playoff. And I think it's like the Village people come out and like dun 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 dun. I was wearing a I want to say like not politically correct costume. I was wearing a giant headdress, Indian headdress many years ago, purple and very gay and fabulous. And it was a giant feather headdress. Like a beaded necklace that goes down to hold a loincloth type beaded situation, but no shirt, whatever. Underneath dance belt. If you're not familiar with the dance belt, similar to like a jock strap moment for dancers, flesh colored. And so I'm like bump, 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 bump.
It's not a jock strap.
Or like it's like a thong.
Yes.
Really, yeah, but it's
very different.
Yeah, but it's to hold things up.
What are you wearing under your clothes? My God.
Wow.
Well, if you keep listening, the whole audience saw because it went bump, 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 bump. Hey, and the elastic around my neck, something snapped, and my loincloth was then around my neck.
Oh my
and
God.
I was downstage center in a house that 2,400 people. My parents were front row center, and they hadn't seen that much of me since I was like a child, like a baby. So since they were changing diapers, I was already nervous to play a gay person on stage because I wasn't out yet, and then I was pretty much naked in front of the whole audience, and it was really embarrassing. So that was my. I mean, now it's funny, but at the time I was like, gasp, hold it down,
But of course.
or holding a giant cake or something. That was a prop, yeah.
God bless the dance bell. It saves many of people, thank goodness. Whoa, first of all, that's so embarrassing that y'all did that. I could never. No, we've all been there. Yeah, what a good time. What a good freaking time. I'm also trying to make sure that we're staying on track here. Oh, no, we're good.
We're good.
People, we're so good. What was my next thing I was going to say? See, the problem is when I'm recording this, naturally, I can forget things. And things edit it out.
Yeah.
But y'all are here in front of me, and I'm so nervous.
You're getting the real scoop. You're getting the real, the behind-the-scenes look.
Yeah. I guess the next question is how, in terms of what you're doing outside in your personal life, what are the limitations that you feel like you have when you are an actor? Like, what are you trying to keep track of? What are you trying not to do for health purposes or what? Because I feel like that's another thing is that can hinder the social life so much as just the literally being able to go to work the next day. Mm-hmm. And how does it then not become a cycle of you just waking up, trying to recover, and then going to work? For 6 days a week,
I mean, I feel like if we were playing a big role, like an Elphaba type role that's on stage squelting for 2.5 hours, 8 shows a week, or 7 shows a week, depending on the contract, that we'd have to live our lives differently just to be able to maintain that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot more vocal rest, probably cutting out alcohol, etc. So, or even certain dietary things, whether it's dairy, etc. Every body is different, as we know, and certain things affect us dietarily, etc. So, getting a lot of sleep. So, if we're doing a dance track in a show or a more prominent vocal track, our day-to-day looks different. But regardless, it's about staying physically fit and able to maintain singing while dancing in a show. So usually that involves some sort of physical fitness activity. For us, it's lifting weights and doing cardio at the gym. Stretching, doing a good warm-up. Am I missing anything, Clay?
No. I mean, knowing that when your kind of daily schedule revolves around the show, so when you eat, so that your stomach is settled enough before you're in Moulin Rouge, I did a back handspring in the opening number, so I was I can't have a cheeseburger 5 minutes before I'm on stage. Did I? Yes. Did I regret it? Yes. So yeah, it kind of, and also with going to the gym, not lifting too heavy because knowing that you have to overhead press somebody in the show. So you kind of have to just revolve your life around knowing that the show is the priority because it's your job.
Yeah.
But like you said, it doesn't have to change drastically for me at least. With the being in the ensemble and having my not easy track, but it's not as vocally demanding or anything like that.
But there are things like Clay ran a couple half marathons, and he was doing that while in shows. What's that during King
Never.
Kong?
Hey.
I did one during King Kong and one during Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
And it was like took a personal day on like the Sunday. I would like fly out Saturday, like
you went somewhere else to run?
Yeah.
You will never catch me running if it's not through Magic Kingdom. Yes, it was somewhere else. I was like doing a show, and then I'd be like,
that for sure.
Jump down to Disney for a second, and then do the parks. Why would I do that? I don't know. But I don't think I'll ever do it again. Cut to February. I'm like, I'm running the Princess Half Marathon.
Are you running it?
No.
Okay.
But I think you learned after a couple of years it was too hard to maintain the training that's required to do that healthily and successfully on top of 8 shows a week plus rehearsals or auditions or whatever. It was just too much to maintain. So Clay was like, when they brought him back post-COVID, I was like, are you going to sign up for the half marathons or even a full marathon? And he was like, my knees can't take it. If I'm doing Sonia Tai's choreography from Moulin Rouge, I'm unable to also add running 12 miles every other day or whatever it is for your training. Bonkers. So there are certain things you give up, but also like being on Broadway being in the performing arts is so special. So like it is not lost on us. Like when we have to give up holidays or whatever, those are super important to us as we've talked about. But like part of the time we're happy to make those sacrifices because it is so special to get to be part of this community. Like this is, Clay's from upstate New York, I'm from Oklahoma, and we dreamed of, individually dreamed of moving to New York and performing on Broadway, and to both have accomplished that is such a special thing, and to be, even here at BroadwayCon is like such a reminder of how amazing and supportive and unique and special people in this community, people that are part of this community in any way are. Mm-hmm. And so I think it is like incredibly special to say, yeah, I had to give up running a half marathon at Disney because of what it takes to maintain a Broadway schedule and Broadway caliber performance. But at the same time, it's incredibly worth it.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm not running half marathons. It's because I'm just preparing for my Broadway schedule.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm just like really responsible like that. I don't know.
Same. I'm not going to run any marathons for the same reason.
Whatever. To each their own. And to you, your own. What time did the Disney races happen?
The first corral of runners starts at 5 a.m.
Vile.
Correct. Because
so check-in is at what time?
Like 3.
No!
I know. After like a day in the parks, right? And then you like watch the fireworks because you can't miss those. And then you sleep for like 5 minutes, and then you get up and you have to like warm up to run 13 miles. And then of course you're in Disney, so what do? Go to Disney and walk how many more miles? Probably like 10? I don't know. It's, again, why did I do it? Never again.
Never. You did it for Disney.
Okay, whenever he does a marathon again at Disney, please play it back that close. Like, never again. Like,
no, I'll be there at the finish line with video evidence.
Well, that was me. Yeah, I slept in. I was like, you can have fun at 3 a.m. I will hold a passive-aggressive, sign up. Run faster.
Yeah, you did.
And he did. He did great.
One of his signs said, this is the most boring parade ever.
Oh my God.
And it said the choreography is so repetitive.
Yeah. And there was another one, but
hurry up.
Run faster, I want to ride Space Mountain.
Hurry up, I want to ride Space Mountain. Pretty proud of that one. Yeah. I love that. I cried when he crossed the finish line the first time.
Thanks. Not the second time?
I'm having that Disney itch right now. I really need to get there. Same. I'm going in September, but I'm still
the fact that we don't have a trip planned is so unlike us. We literally don't have a trip. No, that's a lie. We do have one at the end of October. But the fact that it's not until October, that's weird for us. So
I think there's a lot of similarities between Broadway and any sort of theme parks like Disney, because it's the showmanship and the storytelling involved, and that is an immersive take on storytelling. So that really attracts us as the escapism of it all, as well as the appreciation for the art form, or the many art forms that are involved. So we love a Disney moment.
Shout out to all the retail workers at Disney.
Yeah, truly.
Because let me tell you, that is acting. It truly is.
That's not right.
No, truly. Well, I work for Disney on Broadway. I do merch.
Sure.
And
so you're an actor?
What?
You're an actor, right?
Not a good one, if I'm being honest. I gotta say, I mean, the New Yorker tourists, it's rough.
I'm sure they're probably similar to the Florida tourists.
That's the thing too, where I'm like, oh God, thank God there's not like any corporate people here, because I'd be out of here.
You have that New York edge. That's allowed in New York.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am starting to feel like a New Yorker, which is cool.
Bitter.
I mean, always. I feel like I've been here long enough where I'm like, yeah, I'm a New Yorker.
Sure.
Great.
I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. I have been like, I had when I had Mike on, he was telling me how he's grown accustomed to like yelling at people on the sidewalk, and I'm like, I still don't know if I'm there yet. But
Hilarious. I hope he gets recognized. Mike Cefalo.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Cefalo.
Mike Cefalo, we love you.
He was in
New York, New York.
Thank you. I was going to say Bandstand.
Similar.
He was.
He did
tour Bandstand.
tour Bandstand. Oh my gosh, are you a stalker?
No, Band's visit.
Oh, no, getting the band back together.
The other band.
Band-Aid, the musical.
So I hope he gets recognized, and they're like, wait, Mike Cefalo,
Like,
you don't
influencers
have that accent. Why are you yelling at someone on the street like that?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
There used to be an Instagram account, maybe it was a blog too, called Broadway Spotted, and they'd walk around and like they would like, it was kind of like Influencers in the Wild, but for Broadway people. And then the person who ran it would, if they were spotted you, they'd capture you like Gossip Girl style from a distance, and then they'd walk up and hand you a card that would say like, you've been Broadway spotted.
Oh God, that's terrifying.
But it's like, it's cute, I think. Well, it was cute. I'm not sure what that person's up to, but if they're here at BroadwayCon, come say hi.
Oh my God, I would die.
We got Broadway spotted in a Jamba Juice, and I was like, we have made it. We have been Broadway spotted.
Were you dressed nice?
I don't recall.
I
wasn't a Jamba Juice, though.
I just know the time it would happen to me, I would be looking.
Sure, like doing your laundry at a laundromat, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, 99% of the time we're in gym clothes. So like the fact that there are buttons and a collar on the shirt, you're all very welcome. So I'm sure we were in that Jamba Juice in like a tank top and shorts.
But of course. Y'all recently got recognized. Meet Cute? Is that what it? No, Couples of New York.
No, it was
Meet Cute New York.
And actually, we didn't. I mean, it's not like we got recognized. They just like came up to us in Times Square. We were in Times Square filming a video for a friend, where the like transition video where you like jump over the camera and you land somewhere else. So we were like, let's start in Times Square and in Disney. So we were doing that transition.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, correct. And the guys came up to us, and the full story of it, they were literally.
Well, tell them what the account is. They like ask couples, like, "Hey, how are you a couple? How'd you meet?" And people share their stories. You've probably seen their videos on TikTok and Instagram, and I followed them. Was super excited they came up.
And so he knew who they were when they came up, and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny!" At the end of this interview, they were like, "Okay, since you guys are performers, can we take you guys to a Broadway show right now?"
And we were like,
"Oh my gosh, how fun!" I was like, "I actually have work, so I can't do it." And they were like, "Oh man, like, well, what time do you have to work?" I said, "I have to be at a show at 2:00." And they were like, "Oh, what show are you in?" And I was like, "Moulin Rouge." And they were like, "Oh, we're literally..."
They stopped the camera. They dropped the camera. And they were like,
"We're giving away tickets to see Moulin Rouge." We were like trying to do like a cute story about like how people met, and then bring them to a love story. And I was like, "Oh, I definitely have an email that like says that somebody from Meet Cutes is going to be at the matinee on that Wednesday." So it wasn't
so we were like,
getting
"Can we pass it
recognized.
on? Like, you know, like double it and give it to a friend or whatever."
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing.
But yeah, so they stopped us and asked us our story, and then that video like randomly took off. It wasn't. We weren't like tagged in it or associated.
that
with
account's very big.
No, for sure.
I follow.
But someone messaged us and said it had over 10 million views across their platforms.
That's crazy.
Cuckoo. And a lot of the comments were really nice. I mean, for queer couples, sometimes on
They're
social
like, are you
media.
guys brothers?
Oh, well done. But yeah, sometimes any post on social media can like find the right audience, or I don't want to say the wrong audience, but the audience that's less supportive, and especially as a queer couple, we faced, comments like you can imagine. So we saw a lot of really positive ones, which is nice, and they just featured us in their Meet Cutes newsletter.
Aww.
So check it out. Wherever newsletters are sold.
Yes, where I will go pick up a newspaper right after this. How do you guys find being a couple in day-to-day life as like Broadway actors? Like, do you ever feel like you're missing out on any of like the domesticity, or how do you navigate including that into your life and your schedule?
I have no idea what that word is that you said. What is that? Domesticity?
Like domestic life.
Aha! Yes. I dropped out of college.
Honestly, it might not be. It might not be a word. I could have made it
Yeah.
up. I like it though. Go for it.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, we are just like partners in life. So we're married. We're just a typical couple in a lot of ways too. So even though we work in the evenings and weekends when most people are off work, and not most people, but I would say a lot of people outside of the theater or entertainment industry are off on nights and weekends. We are still just like a normal couple, and we make the bed when we get up. We put on pants one leg at a time, and for sure, yeah. Sometimes we don't make the bed, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I feel like we create our traditions around the holidays in our own way. We like to bake Christmas cookies every year, usually successfully. We like to have. We're really big on like the holidays, like Halloween, Christmas, etc. So we usually have a big gathering.
Yeah.
You've been at before.
I have. Yes, for sure.
So you can vouch how amazing they are.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Best parties ever. But yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, we're just a couple, and we just, we happen to work in the artistic field.
Yeah, that's great. You have anything to add to that?
No.
Clay's like, no.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. It's funny to the fact that we're like asked to talk at a panel is like so silly to me. Like, I'm like, we're just silly people that sing and dance. And the fact that people recognize us anywhere is like still so wild to me. So
that's special,
Yeah. I think to me, we're like normal people. And we, like you said, like we brush our teeth and we do things like, I don't know. So I guess so is Beyonce. So Beyonce brushes her own teeth, I think.
So we are Beyonce.
The Beyonce of Broadway. You heard it here first, folks. Out of their mouths. We're running a little bit short on time, so I just want to open the floor up if anyone has any questions.
Oh my God.
This is Broadway Career Podcast. It's about the business of show business. You got anything within that realm or anything in general? Yeah. We'll start. I think I saw you over here first.
Hi. My name is Suzanne. I am here from Florida. I own a dance studio.
Yes.
So this is kind of like continuing ed for me because I have a lot of kids that are heading into BFA programs, and I guess what I would like to pass on to them, asking you, what would you say is like the number one or two mistakes that you see those fresh out of college kids make when they get here?
I think you can, first of all, that was a great question. You said Suzanne, right?
Suzanne
from Florida. Great question about what is a typical mistake that you see people making right out of college. I think you're only new once, right? You're only fresh in the city one time, right? I guess there was a pandemic, so maybe some people got a do-over. But I feel like monopolizing on that, and you're allowed to be green. If you're driven, green. You're allowed to be driven, and you're allowed to be, you're allowed to not know everything. At some point, you're expected to kind of know how things work. I think, there was one time I saw Catch Me If You Can on stage, and then I saw the composers in the wings. And I walked over, I was like, hi, my name's Chris. I just moved here and I want to play this role on tour. I would love to audition. I was so green and didn't know what I was doing, but they found it so sweet and enduring. And I think having that sort of just honest passion and showing up and putting yourself out there can take you so far. I think the city can also be overwhelming. So I think if you can lean into being bold and putting one foot in front of the other and just trying to make your dream happen, lean into the boldness and the courage it takes to come to New York and pursue this, and audition for as many things as you can. I think the people that try to really, really make everything super specific at the beginning and the trajectory, every single move can get stuck in the planning phase, but I say just go out there and try to make it happen. Just be bold.
Yeah, my first thought was the same, kind of show up. We went to an open call for West Side Story and we both booked it, but we were both non-union. We just went in hopes of getting seen, and we got seen and we booked the job. And had we not just shown up and gone to that audition, we would have, one, never met, two, not gotten the job. So the job has to go to somebody, so why not let it be you? So show up and also be yourself, because there's so much that you can bring to the role that not anybody else can. So whether it's I know who you are and bring that into the room and make a bold choice with it, because who knows what the person behind the table is doing next, is I know that Chris was auditioning for a regional production of, or he was holding auditions for a regional production of Cinderella. And these girls were coming in for Cinderella, and he was like, I'm obsessed with you. They're not my Cinderella. And then he was directing and choreographing A Little Mermaid, and the girl who played Ariel was one of the people that came in for Cinderella, that he was like, I'm obsessed with her, she's just not my Cinderella. So he was having auditions for Little Mermaid.
I was like, I need someone who's like Malia Monk from that first audition. And I was like, wait, what is she doing?
Yeah.
So knowing that like not all no's aren't the end of the road. So like just continue to show up, because you never know when that like no could have been like you're in a different pile. So just go to the audition and make a bold choice.
Yeah. I think like imposter syndrome is so real, especially when you're first exiting college. So I think it's just also important to just know that being a professional actor is not being on Broadway. It's not working consistently. It is getting out of bed in the morning and going to an audition. You are going to work. You are a professional actor. So you just have to be so confident in that and just believe in yourself and be yourself and just show up. That's kind of what you got to do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's a great question.
Literally just like being bored backstage, and I was like,
Between scenes, not while.
oh yes. No, it's like backstage. I was like, what can I be doing? I was like already scrolling on my phone, and it was around Christmas time, and we have a guy. We had at the time a guy in the show named Kevin, and I was like, oh my gosh, we should do the Home Alone like passing a thing. So I was like, I want to create something that's like niche enough to Moulin Rouge, but also like broad enough for everybody to know. And so I like created that video, and it got good feedback. And so I was like, okay, this could kind of be fun. And so then I just like started to make more. There's a Toddlers and Tiaras video that this girl calls her pacifier her Nini, and we have a character in the show named Nini. And so I was like, oh my gosh, why not do this? So I like found the video, edited down to like just use like a minute and a half of the audio, and just like had a good time with it. And then Jojo joined the show. There's the clips from Dance Moms, and so I was like making clips with that. And then Moulin Rouge was like, hey, okay, we see what you're doing and we're obsessed with it. Can you create content for us? And
I think they said, we're trying to do what you're doing. Can you just do it for us?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to get to like create for them as well, which made it fun to like give it like an assignment of like I had to create one a week. So it motivated me to create more, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm like sad to not make them anymore. But I also like am glad they didn't ask me to keep creating them. But the reason that it was so beneficial was that I was in the company, so I was like there the whole show. So to not be in the show anymore, it would make that harder. So I was like, it's good to like take a step back, and then you better believe I'm still saving audios for like the next time I join the show, and I'm like, I have that one ready and I have that one ready. So yeah, that's how it came about. Just like being like, what could I create? And like, what do I want to see on my phone? Just like create it.
Yeah, I would say with me it was a little different. So
we have 2 minutes.
I'll be very quick. I do social media for The Great Gatsby on Broadway, as well as the Patti LuPone play that's coming to Broadway called The Roommate, which is hysterical. You got to go see it when it opens in September. But mine came about really, really organically. I ran into a fellow content creator named Catherine Quinn, who's amazing. She's going to change the face of Broadway, so please follow her. And we had dinner. We set up dinner after we ran into each other, and Clay came, and we were like, hopefully we can work together. And then like a month later, she got offered the Great Gatsby contract for Broadway, and was like, okay, I have to build out a team. It was the first time she was doing that for a Broadway show, so marketing via social media. And I gotta say, she created a team. She was the first person she called, which was a gift and a blessing for me. And of all the shows that opened last Broadway season, we are the #1 one on TikTok and
Amazing.
Instagram. Millions of hits. And I think we have 3 viral sounds right now from a Broadway show, which is across TikTok and Instagram, which is crazy. So we're having a good time, and it's a fun show too. It's a fun way to be artistic and be a storyteller in a different way.
For sure. Okay, we have one more question that I want to answer super quick.
I was just wondering, because you guys are both such amazing dancers, like what kind of dance training do you have when you start? And do you guys still go to like classes to keep up with it? Better.
Yes. So
The question was about dance training.
yeah, I started dancing in like around middle school, because I went to an audition in New York City and got through the singing cuts. It came to dancing, and I had never danced before. So I got cut after the dancing, and I was like, I want to do this. And they said, wherever you felt like you were weakest today, go home and take a class in it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna dance. And so I took tap, jazz, ballet, and learned the basics, and then I fell in love with it, and that's all I wanted to do. So I danced like 30 hours a week. And yeah, and then regarding class, I should go to class more often than I do, but being in a show, 8 shows a week, you dance a lot. So you're constantly, your body's like, it takes a toll on your body. So I should be in class more. But now that I'm not in a show, I'm excited to take class more.
Watching you dance, I would think that you'd take a lot of class because you're very good.
Lovely.
Yeah, I danced in high school. My teachers were like kind of all levels type of classes, so my teachers were doing what they could. And then college really whipped me into shape with ballet, tap, jazz. And we only were required to take 2 semesters of ballet, but I took it every semester because the technique for ballet is so helpful in like every other form of dance. So and it wasn't my favorite, but now I find it really enjoyable because I'm not trying to be this perfect ballerina. I'm just doing it. It's kind of therapeutic at this point, but I do like it. I should definitely take more classes than I do. But thankfully we get to create a lot and choreograph a lot as well, so that also scratches that itch as well.
Amazing. I don't dance.
That's not true.
It's never too late.
That's true. I would love to someday. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is so amazing. I really appreciate every one of you. Thank you, Chris and Clay, for being here. Folks, we're your biggest supporters, and you can be our biggest supporters by finding us on Patreon. That is patreon.com/BeItABroadway. General disclaimer, we are not gatekeeping any vital information there. It is just fun bonus content, etc. As always, you can find us on most social media at BA2Broadway. Chris and Clay, where can people find you if you want to be found?
At Chris Rice NY on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and YouTube. Or YouTube's actually at Chris and Clay. Yeah. There you go.
And I'm at Clay Rice-Thomson on Instagram and TikTok and Threads.
Amazing. Okay, folks, until next week, which is going to be an awesome episode. It's going to be an episode for the parents, and my guest is my mom. It's going to be awesome. So we'll see you Monday, and until next time, folks, bye.
From BA to Broadway is created, produced, and edited by Brennan Stefanik, music by Dylan Kaufman, cover art by Jordan Bongzithi, and today's live audio and video by Claire McConnell.